Hi all, and welcome to my Alien review. Alien is the newest chapter to step into the fog and drag us into the even deeper void of sci-fi horror. Now, Alien has been one of the most requested chapters since the introduction of the first licensed chapter, Halloween. Sticking with the theme behavior has been sticking to this year by continuing our journey into the sci-fi horror elements, starting and beginning with the Singularity and Gabriel Soma. Alien brings a rather oppressive power with unique tunnel mechanics that enables it to sneak up on survivors by utilizing its crawler mode with a reduced tear radius, its base being 32 and its crawler mode being 24, and unleashing its brutal tail attack, which is a great power borrowing from Nemesis's dragability, as well as also the supreme anti-loop design. The Alien also introduced flame turrets, which can knock it out of crawler mode and have a radius of detection to help combat it, acting as a defensive maneuver to bring the Alien out of its crawler mode, which we'll get into later. Joining Alien is also Ripley, the main protagonist from many of the classic films here, to combat the Alien. And once stepped out of the fog, we are taken to the Nostromo Wreckage, a map part of the same realm as Toba Landing, and one that played fairly well, but it does have some issues. Now, starting off with the good things of the Alien chapter, Alien handles very well, and actually one of the best anti-loop killers in the game. Its tail attack can hit over a wide variety of tiles and loops, which makes every pallet, window, and small structure a mind game process for the survivor, whether to drop it, fake it, or greed, which all can culminate into hit if predicted by the player in control of the Alien. Alien's power also allows you to drag its tail over smaller tiles. It can negate a survivor crouching to avoid being hit, and also be dragging side to side, with the former a little bit more difficult to master, and one that I have not been able to yet. It's a little bit kind of wonky in terms of doing it, but once you do master it, its counterplay is very, very few. And the latter is more useful for chases to avoid the wiggling that survivors do side to side to try to avoid the Alien's tail attack. Again, survivor predictability is kind of where you have to be more akin to on that. Alien's crawler mode is also an amazing addition. As for the reduced tear radius, again being 24 meters, makes for an excellent pairing with Monitor and Abuse. And it also lowers the Alien height, also to make it come to you on all fours, pause, which also gives access to its tail attack. Alien has also introduced two of my new favorite perks with Ultimate Weapon, a great information perk and arguably one of the best given upon activation. Survivors entering your terror radius will scream and be blinded, which nullifies any aura rating perks for that survivor like Windows and Object and completely nullifies Distortion. And also Rapid Brutality, which removes Bloodlust, but you also get a 5% haste upon a successful basic attack, making it the best perk to pair with Save the Best for Last and amazing for M1 heavy killers like Clown, Trapper, and a variety of others. Moving over to Ripley, the Chemical Trap is the newest trap-based perk compared to Wiretap and Blast Mine, which after completing a certain percentage of gen progress, you place a trap that lasts 120 seconds and can be placed on down pallets. This is best used on safer loops that forces a pallet break on certain maps that have a decent amount of dead zones, which then can allow you to make it to another tile, very akin to kind of like Swamp, as well as also certain variations of Borgo depending on your luck. Onto the cosmetic department, the Alien's Queen outfit is also amazing, and the Grid outfit also looks unique too, although I wish more of the green could be seen from the killer POV. It's also licensed from Alien vs. Predator, which also may give a hint to our upcoming killer-only chapter releasing in November, and may also stay with this year's theme if that rings true. Now on to the bad. Ripley's design unfortunately looks very, very off. It's not allowed to utilize the Sigourney Weaver's likeness, and because of this, it looks like she's kind of borrowed from Wish.com. The cosmetics unfortunately do suffer from this as well, namely the one that released with her her chapter, and also one that was released in the store. Staying on to the topic of cosmetics, Alien's cologne cosmetic fortunately does bring in the special guest of Rufus from Kim Possible, just all grown up. The outfit itself does look absolutely disgusting, and unless my memory is bad, it does not resemble what the original movie's design looked like, which unfortunately does make it my least favorite outfit. It does not, at least as far as I've been able to tell in researching again to make sure that this point sticks, it looks very off and it doesn't look very close to the movie design at all. Again, this also suffers kind of the same fate without using Sigourney Weaver's likeness. The cosmetics do suffer, unfortunately, because of the fact that they don't have that same person that was in it, and is typically, or is in this category, falls more like original character design. The Nostromo Wreckage map does feature Behavior's recent signature design of cluttering the map with as many things as possible, something that is most likely in the bad because of how recent maps have carried this feature lately, which is, Sea Toba Landing, Garden of Joy, and Shattered Square or Borgo. The Borgo is scheduled to get a facelift in October based on Behavior's Twitter, so hopefully this nullifies this problem on every other map as well with future updates. This unfortunately will segue into my biggest issue with the chapter, the collision on this map, the Nostromo Wreckage. I have lost way more chases because of getting stuck on various things as survivors, and one chases as killer because survivors got stuck and couldn't make it to pallets or windows. This map is basically the DBD equivalent of certain videos involving certain step relatives getting stuck in a certain piece of machinery. It has made my experience and many others' experience on this map an absolute nightmare, and since Osmer increased at release, it made me basically forsake my tiramisu offerings in favor of other map offerings to avoid the impending wash cycle of taking my pathing wider, causing many force drops, and especially against an anti-loop killer is never a good thing because you can get hit, especially with its drag ability over these. For the love of God, please fix this collision issue before the map gets hung out to dry and takes over as my least favorite map, or at least pertaining to my least favorite realm, compared to the swamp maps, which currently reign as my least favorite maps to play as survivor and as well as killer. Overall, the killer is doing most of the carrying of this chapter's greatness, but things either out of Behavior's control, Ripley's likeness, or things lacking quality assurance testing, Nostromo's collision, have hurt the chapter. Although, not as significantly as my complaints may seem, it's still my favorite chapter this year, and for what it seems like, may retain that until the next anniversary is here, as there is no more licensed chapters after November. And given Behavior's recent original chapters, I do not have much faith in them releasing one early next year that can be subject to change, however, but I have zero faith after Skull Merchant's chapter, who is also due for a rework in October, and Knight's chapter as well. And that's mainly due to at least the killer portion of it. Behavior's recent killer design, at least bar from the most recent release with Alien, seems to have been taking a downgrade and trying to focus more on a Jin type playstyle. This is a whole nother discussion I'll do at some point, as I'm more akin to loving the chase type meta, to where killers are more focused on chasing survivors and Jin perks themselves are, not really the focus. We'll talk about that at a later time. I'm still working on that as I speak, but we will get to that topic eventually. However, with that being said, I do appreciate you all watching. My opinion on Alien is that it's going to eventually probably still reign as my favorite chapter between now and the anniversary, which if it does, they've done a good job at least on the licensed chapters so far, barring whatever releases in November. Nick Cage was a welcome addition. The voice lines throughout the chapter are hilarious. The design of the character looks pretty similar to Nick Cage's likeness, which is pretty good. And his cosmetics looked very good as well. So as long as we get a good licensed chapter for November, I think we can be set that if the original chapter seems to be a little bit of a dud, or if the survivors carry it, like in the case of Tools of Torment, I think we should be fine. But I do appreciate everybody watching. I did want to mention before ending the video, I am currently doing a Shadowborn only Wesker Hardcore Challenge on Killer over on Twitch, with its link being in the description. I also be uploading weekly games from that stream, kind of in a compilation, so keep an eye out here on YouTube. And I will end the video with a quick clip of how those games have been going. I hope you all enjoyed. If you liked and enjoyed, please like and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. What the